Chapter 46. Blue. The evening's going great. As I walk out of the room with Sui, I can't help the way I want to jump up in the air. Nothing's gone wrong. Master danced beautifully with the woman who doesn't like him. But what I love most is all the attention that Kara's been lavishing me with. I know one of the important parts of the night is to show how well-mannered and behaved I am with my master, but still, I can't help the way his actions are affecting me. It makes me feel good to be pampered, treated like a fine pet who actually deserves all the attention. I want to be a good pet. All the instincts of previous masters are coming back in waves. Being treated like a good boy is more of an unachievable goal that my masters dangled above me than something I've regularly attained. Now that I'm being treated nicely, it's getting harder to ignore the impulses. I want to sit in his lap. I want to be pet and praised while this good mood lasts. I don't want him to stop. He lets me get away with much more than he would at home, and I'm in no way sorry that I take advantage of that. I dress him in kisses, each one wholly too small and inexpressive to convey the full breadth of my meaning. He wouldn't let me do such a thing if we were just at home. At least, not without taking me aside and forcing a conversation full of hard questions that I'm not sure I even understand, let alone know the correct answers to. The ballroom is much more daunting without Kara here beside me, without him making it a safe place for me to act by his side. But I asked for this. I want to be good and show off how well-behaved I can be, even if it's just for something as stupid as getting him a drink. Sui and I stick to the edges of the ballroom where the servants stay glued to the walls, perpetually ready in case anyone needs something, but out of the way and unnoticeable until the moment you call for one. None of them look at us as we pass. We probably could get one of them to listen if we requested something on behalf of our masters, but we only outrank them because we're technically guests in this house. The party is still lively in the main room. There's people dancing and talking. I had no idea that Kara could dance. I had no idea that he had any experience. But it seems like the more I learn of my master, the more impressive I find the man. I don't know why he knows half the things he knows. Hell, I don't know why he does half the things he does. He's been perfectly cordial to all his classmates, acting with good courtly manners, but where the hell had he learned those things? He's not some noble, and if he's been getting lessons from Shauna, then he certainly hasn't said anything about them. I wonder why he wouldn't come to me about this. Immediately I dismiss the thought. It's not my place to be his instructor. But he had told me I was his resource among these people. I'm a little jealous if it actually was Shauna that helped him. I wonder how long those etiquette lessons took. Sui nudges me, jolting me back into place when it's our turn to pick up drinks. The bartender isn't too thrilled for us to be asking for things at his table, but we're very clearly on a task from our masters, so he mixes us something without complaint. The people in the room are spinning in such graceful circles I can't help the way I nod along with the beat. It's hypnotic, the complex movements made to look easy on the dance floor. I was worried when that lady approached Kara for a dance. I was half a second from warning him about the breach of conduct before he sorted out the solution for himself. He holds himself differently around these people, acting more carefree and aloof, even though I can see the tension in his shoulders. I see the way he sets them, and smiles with nothing behind his eyes for these people. But when he danced, I wonder if he would dance with me that way. I feel my face warm at the thought. It's not that uncommon, I tell myself. There are a few people on the fringes of the dance floor dancing with their familiars rather than a partner. Sia's dancing with her master, but I wonder if that's more of an issue with the dancing at all rather than an actual choice. It seems that Nema has either never danced before in their life, or they're rather hopeless regardless. It's a mess of steps, jerky limbs, and the badges on their uniform jangling with every jolt of motion. Sia's getting stepped on more than danced with, but she's still laughing. There's an undisguised glee on her face that makes me long for what she has. I almost wish Kara wasn't as practiced. Then we could come out on the dance floor without the threat that someone more respectable might ask him for a dance. Still, Master had known I danced, and he didn't show any interest in using me as a partner. Not that it's the only way he hasn't seen fit to use me as a partner. I'm surprised by the genuine heat behind the thought. I shouldn't be surprised that he's treating me differently now that I've fucked up, even under his gentle care. I still want to serve him, but I feel as though I've messed up too much for him to consider me as a real candidate in the bedroom. Still, I can't shake the affectionate touches that he lavished me with. I want more, and I know I'm being greedy, or I should at least be content with what I have, but it doesn't stop me from wanting more. There are many people outside embracing the cold for a few moments of privacy, dragging their familiars along with them. Kara had gotten me a thick cloak for winter, a well-stitched and darkly colored thing that's warm enough that I wasn't bothered by our journey outside. But that's not the case for everyone. I wince in sympathy looking over the familiars outside. It seems that a lot of people have gone outside to smoke or do other things. Most of the familiars outside are at least warm-blooded, but it doesn't seem to be helping them much. They're just attending to their masters, refilling drinks, or grabbing the things their owners are asking for. There's one figure outside, apart from all the others, that draws attention solely for being unattended. She's not drawing any attention to herself, nor is she surrounded by an entourage. She's simply keeping herself on the terrace. At first glance I thought she must have been a mistress without an attendant, but when I look closer I recognize those ears and tail all too well. There's a glare on the windows as the last of the sun dips behind the rolling hills, but I can still make out her vague shape. She's curled up, but in no way actually hiding. She's just a few feet away from all the others on the terrace. "Sui, you would tell me if I lost my mind, right?" I say hollowly before getting another sharper nudge from Sui as she takes both the drinks that have been offered by the bartender in my place. "Is that Avery?" I sign, not quite willing to let the words come out of my mouth and trying desperately to think of any other explanation. Avery isn't supposed to be here tonight. She even told us how disappointed she was not to see us all dressed up for the party, because she belongs to a third year. This was supposed to be an event for the entire first-year class and their familiars. What is she doing here? Sui looks in the direction I point, and I see from the shocked expression on her face that I am not the only one who recognizes the figure in the corner. I take both the drinks from her without thinking. It's not our problem. It really isn't our place to get involved, even though I want to go out and talk to her, if nothing more than to warn her about her apparent hiding place. I shouldn't go over there. Sui and I have orders. Get drinks and come right back. "Blue, stop," she signs when her hands are free. "It's probably nothing. I'll take the drinks, and you can go ask. How's that?" She tries to placate me when she sees me go tense. How can she be so casual about this? I'm holding the glasses too tightly, but it's all I can do to keep my hands from shaking. We'd be disobeying orders. Except, we really wouldn't be, would we? Our masters gave us permission to go out. I asked to leave, and Kara let me go. He didn't say I had to come back immediately. He wouldn't notice if I stole a couple extra minutes to say hi to a friend. He's already derailed the night so that I could. It wouldn't make that much of a difference. Okay, just... I'll be right back," I waver, handing her back her mistress's cup. "And?" She gestures, holding out her hand and waiting for the other. I don't want to give her my master's cup. As much as I'm twisting his words, I would still like to be the one to give it to him. "And I will let you know if anything is wrong," I finish. She sets her lips into a pout, but waves me off, starting on her way back out of the ballroom. There are a few doors outside, but I try to be at least a little bit stealthy in my approach. I don't pick the closest door. I pick the one with the fewest people clustered around it. I keep my head down, and for the most part, people ignore me. "Avery!" I whisper, trying to get her attention and still slip under the notice of all the other guests around us. "Hey, Blue!" Avery smiles up at me, reaching out and pulling me down until I am sitting with her on the floor. She isn't as nervous as I am not to get caught, though I think that is more an effect of what's in her hand than anything else. "Avery, what are you doing out here?" I try not to let my voice sound as high and panicked as I feel. "Trying not to freeze, and looking for some peace and quiet, I guess." Even if she's not sure of her own assessment, she takes another drag from the cigarette in her hand. You shouldn't smoke." I try to say it gently. I remember the hacking fits it gave my first master, how they progressed until he started coughing up blood, the headaches and chest pain that came with it, until he had to stop his little habit and start seeing a healer more regularly. The older daughter developed asthma because of it, if I remember correctly. Not that he would have ever admitted to being the cause of such a thing. "Honey, I'm going to be dead long before this becomes an issue," she says bluntly. And there's really nothing I can say to that. Where did you even get that? I can't imagine why anyone would let her have drugs, especially when we were in public. "Found it." She giggles in such a lilting tone it almost overshadows my horror. "Did you steal that?" I try to keep my voice low even as I want to scream. Why would she steal drugs from her master? Or even worse, from anyone else at this party? "Aw, they're never gonna notice one missing," she asserts. She takes another long drag and does a trick with the smoke to make rings, completely careless of the people nearby. The people around us don't actually seem that interested in the two familiars holed up in the corner, lacking owners or escorts. I understand what she means. The people here are all pretty lost in their own worlds. They're all distracted enough to make prime targets. They don't pay any mind to the servants standing near them waiting on orders, so why would they notice a familiar passing by a little too closely? They aren't acting like my old master did when he smoked. Then again, the terrace doesn't smell like smoke. At least, not what I remember the acrid and ashy smoke to smell like. It smells almost herbal. And the people aren't just loosely happy with the relief of stress that the drug brings. They seem to be getting less focused on their surroundings and more casual with their bodies and language. There's more free laughter and a dazed expression on people's faces as others join in. These aren't the same effects that my first master experienced. If anything, he got more energized from the experience of smoking. He didn't turn into these sluggish things. "I beg to differ." I try to object and to be the only reasonable person here. Despite the looseness of the crowd, the mood can shift on a dime. If she gets caught, this could end very badly. She barks out a laugh, and the rest of the people on the terrace start giggling in some unspoken wave as the noise moves outward from its starting point. Stars, what the hell are they smoking? "You may be right, but if my owner doesn't give me notice for an event like this, then he doesn't get me sober." She finishes her whatever it is and turns to face me. "You look good, Blue. I'm glad I got to see you in all your fancy stuff." Her pupils are wide, and I have no idea how she hopes to hide this from her master. "Avery, why are you here?" I come out with my original question. She isn't supposed to be here. She belongs to a third year, and this was clearly a first-year party. "Oh, come on, Blue. You know every party needs some entertainment." She has this faraway look that I have no idea how to place, but I'm suddenly very glad she's had the opportunity not to be sober for this. I have no response to that. I couldn't imagine Avery being called in as entertainment. I don't know what they've asked of her master. if she even knows what she's been called in to do. I don't know how to comfort her, and for some reason that stings more than anything. "You look good, Avery." I parrot back her words numbly. It's not a lie. Even with her pupils blown wide and her mind not all there, she does at least look stunning. The patterned lace on her outfit is a sensational red with small sequins embedded in the stitching. It's nothing more than a lacy bodice and some ruffles in the parody of a skirt, stocking going high up on her thighs to accentuate her shapely figure. She looks gorgeous, but similarly wrong. It's not her style. It's very easy to tell that someone else dressed her. As much as cats often get put in lacy outfits, she'd look better in leather, or black at the very least. The red she's wearing is too close to pink for her.
"Avery, what have you found here?"
I'm startled from my musings by a voice I don't recognize, one that is most certainly not the pleasantly deadened tones of all the other students who've come out on the terrace for their smoking. "Oh, stars! Upperclassmen!" I hear Avery curse under her breath.
"No one, Jay. Did you find a room for all your little flunkies?"
She grins, wide and feral, standing to face the newcomers.
"Can it, Kitty, or I'll fuck that pretty little ass into next century."
The man, Jay, speaks harshly, in no mood to put up with Avery's disrespectful disposition.
"Yeah, nice try. You'd have to find my master first, and given just how far his nose is up Genevieve's ass, that might take a while."
She spits back, obviously unswayed by the man's threats.
"You think Kalu's gonna give a shit when I tell him how disrespectful you're being?"
Jay taunts her with barbed words, and I feel my stomach drop.
"Oh, come on, Jay."
She smiles, leaning in until from chest to hip they have one solid line of contact.
"This is how you like me."
She smirks, looking directly into his eyes. I see her go down before I hear the slap that caused it. Immediately I try to take a catalog of what's wrong without being able to go to her side. She didn't land funny, and almost as soon as she hits the floor she's moving again, just sluggish. There's all manner of problems that can come with getting knocked unconscious, and while she can't really do anything more than squirm a bit from where she dropped, I take a moment to be glad it's nothing that serious.
"Well, isn't this just the cutest little thing?"
The taller one, the one that's not Jay, coos at me, but I don't even have the presence of mind to scream as my mind races. I was backed into the corner of the terrace space with Avery. I have no way out. Even if I could get out, I have no way of making sure that Avery's safe. They'll give her more than a slap for that kind of back talk, and certainly more once they realize she's not sober. "I'm sorry, sir, my master." I try to speak, hating how small and timid my voice sounds. But Jay has apparently moved on from Avery as he wraps one hand around the back of my neck, pulling me onto my feet. I hate how easily I follow the motion. How even if he wasn't pressing down on the part of my body that makes me lose all real control of my motor function, I probably would have submitted to the motion anyways. I hate scruffing, though I hate most things that make me lose control of my body.
"Well, aren't you the pretty one? What do you think, Catherine?"
Jay's grin turns my stomach, and even though I know it's a pitiful effort, I do try to squirm out of his grasp.
"Aw, Jay, he's too cute to leave him behind, though it's almost hard to tell with all that he's hiding under here."
Catherine's smile shows too many teeth as she pulls back the transparent shift, pawing at the newly exposed skin. Her hands are cold. Even if it wasn't freezing out with the suns gone from the sky, I would still flinch away from her.
"Oh, Rin, someone dressed him up like he's allowed to hide things."
He says it like it's a tragedy he's moved to action by, and I suppose that's pretty close to the truth as his free hand plays threateningly with the waist of my pants.
Oh, I bet your owner's a very bad person. Doesn't use you at all like you need to be used. He continues in such a sickly, sweet, condescending tone that I wish the floor would open up and swallow me. Either way, I bet Kalu would agree. 2 is better than 1, Catherine jokes, playing with the bell on my collar. You guys aren't allowed to do that. His master didn't allow it. Avery slurs just a little, pulling herself back up to her full height. Listen, Molly, if his master has a problem with it, then he can object. But no one's here coming forward with a claim, so shut your trap and get moving. Jay barks, transferring me into his friend's hold before grabbing Avery behind the neck, before she just goes docilely with him. I could just eat you up. Catherine licks up the side of my face as though she's planning to make good on this threat, right here and now. I can see the look on her face when she tastes the honey dust I've applied. It's all I can do not to scream as her nails dig harder into my neck, and I stumble half-blind in the direction she's dragging me. The hallway seems impossibly long, and all too short at the same time. I'm too aware of the ever-present press of her fingers in my neck. It's not like there's no one in the hallways. There are people talking and drinking like nothing's happening. They take a glance and look away, not sparing another thought to the situation. My mind is racing. How did this get so wrong so fast? I was just talking to my friends. I didn't do anything wrong. But I was disobeying my master. I left to get my master a drink, and I can't even remember where the damn cup is. It's probably out on the terrace somewhere, but fat load of good that does me. I shouldn't have gone to talk to Avery. I should have just kept my head down and followed my orders like a good pet. Maybe then... Oh, Jay, what did you find here? A voice interrupts my spiraling thoughts. The man in front of us is well dressed, obviously a noble ready for the occasion. While my master and Shauna had chosen not to wear mage robes, he clearly doesn't follow that fad. He's dressed to the nines with a long trailing robe, a wide sash of delicate material forming a thick waistband, with so many embellishments that there's nothing left for subtlety. He's dressed like he's defined by his position as a mage. All his jewelry is designed to look otherworldly, as though he actually goes around wearing his magic items everywhere. You mean this little guy? Jay speaks, throwing Avery into her master's arms, before coming over to take my face in his hands. His fingers dig into my cheek as they pull my face up to meet his eyes. Cute, right? And unattended, right next to your little puss-puss. The girl scruffing me breathes into my ear, and Avery actually growls at the nickname. Who does he belong to? The man speaks as he circles me, sandwiched between his 2 friends. I want to tell him. I desperately want to say who I belong to. They don't have my master's permission for this. It's unlawful to use me against my master's will. Still, the sharp nails digging into my neck force me to remain still. I can't even imagine the sound that might come out of me should I try to speak. I barely have the strength to force out a pathetic mew. I'm almost certain that would only make this situation worse. No idea, but an absolute fool for letting him out of sight. I can hear the smirk in Catherine's voice as she throws me down onto the floor. My knees crack on the hard stone and I have to swallow a yelp. It's not that bad. There might be some bruising tomorrow, but I'll be fine. I've had worse. I can't tell his breed. His features are all over the place. No. Jay rambles before he cuts himself off with his own realization. What man? Catherine questions, just as confused as she should be. I'm not a normal familiar type. Dude, I think it's a common cat. The disbelief in his voice is plain to hear, and for some reason, it cuts deeper than anything else he's said. I don't belong in this world. I don't belong. I can almost hear what's going through their heads.
My master must be playing some kind of joke on everyone by bringing me here tonight. Some washed-up pet posing as a familiar? Whatever it is, it's at least funny to them.
You're kidding me. Why the hell would one be at this party?
Kalu wonders aloud what I already know. I don't belong here.
Maybe Jen needed something in case you don't fall through?
Jay suggests offhandedly, but offers nothing more. It seems he's not interested enough to pursue the line of thought any further.
True. True.
Kalu accepts this line of reasoning, stalking a few steps closer to me. Please, my master, I try to speak, but all I get out are a few miserable stuttering sentences before he slaps me silent. It's been a while since someone struck me. Master's been keeping me in such a kind and insulated manner that the sting on my skin genuinely surprises me.
Come on now, you know the rules. No speaking until you're spoken to.
Kalu continues, speaking slowly and calmly. He wants me to correct my behavior more than he wants to beat me for it. It's been a long time since I've had to think about people in those terms. It's been a while since I would have recognized Kalu as one of the kindest types of masters. There's a tremble in my hands as I place them on top of my knees and correct my kneeling posture. I feel an impulse to just curl up, to simply protect my more vulnerable areas and wait it out. They have to get bored eventually. Sooner or later I will be allowed to leave, but then, what of my master? I don't want to come to him bloodied and beaten. We're starting to draw a crowd. People drawn to the shouting like moths to a flame. I don't want to cause my master any trouble with his classmates. I won't have people saying that he's left me some untrained beast. Master, he isn't... Avery tries to intercede again on my behalf when she sees there's no more fight in me, but her master is too invested in this to let me go.
You shut your trap, Avery. You've brought me more than enough embarrassment tonight.
Kalu cuts her off. The unspoken threat that she'll get what she has coming to her is there.
As for you, well, you are covering just a little too much skin to be some proper entertainment, aren't you?
Jay steps forward again, and I can see Catherine lick her lips from where she has perched herself to watch the scene that's about to play out. I'm inordinately aware of the eyes on me. All these people who are watching, who are going to see what is about to happen. These people know who I came here with. I'm the only common cat here. Do they think my master allowed this? Do they think I got roped into this because of my own antics? Or do they not care enough to even have an opinion? There are so many people who are just giving us a casual glance, just a moment of attention to survey the situation, before they're off thinking about something else, talking to their friends again. Some of the familiars linger. I can see the pity on their faces, the relief that this time it wasn't them. They have no way of helping me. I know that, but it doesn't help me feel less alone. Jay pulls off my tinted overgarment with little fanfare before he pulls up my cropped shirt to reveal just how far down my blush has traveled.
That's some sweet jewelry, pet.
He chuckles, and I want to do anything to hide myself.
Very sweet. Now, beg for your treat, kitty.
He murmurs darkly, his hands playing with the waistband of his own pants. I don't say anything, but I can't look away. Stars, how did this happen? Why is this happening? There's a high, keening noise in my throat before I can stop it. I choke it down as quickly as I can, but I can see that they've heard it just the same as me. Jay steps closer, grabbing a fistful of my hair, careless of the intricately woven hairpiece, pulling me against his hips. I have to stifle a yelp as the movement causes the hairpiece to dig into my skull.
That was good, little kitty, but I want you to use your words, he drawls,
pulling me against the rough starched pants, before we're interrupted and Jay drops me from his hold.
Blue!
I hear my master's voice, and I nearly sob in relief. Master! I call for him before my voice dies in my throat. Oh, stars, if he thinks this was on purpose, that I had allowed this.
Who the hell are you? Blue, put your clothes back on,
he orders with an even tone, putting himself between the upperclassmen and me.
Oh, come on, man. We were just having a little fun. Your familiar puts on a really nice show, so how about you step off our good time and let your seniors have some fun?
I have to bite back a fearful gasp. Master didn't know I was here. He didn't give them permission. But now, they're asking. I'm not brave enough to interject. I just pray he's not angry enough with my behavior to think that this might be a suitable punishment. Master wouldn't allow this, would he? He had told me he had no intention of sharing me at this party. Then again, I'm clearly in the wrong here. My disobedience landed me in this spot. They are his upperclassmen. He's meant to have a good relationship with them. They can help him through his career in ways I can't. They are more valuable to keep happy. And I'm just a misbehaving pet that already needs correction.
How about it? Mind if we borrow your fine piece right here? We'll get him back to you in one piece. Or, mostly.
Catherine smiles and bats her eyes at my master, but when her gaze shifts to where I am still sitting on the floor, it leaves nothing to the imagination. She's out for violence. Her pupils are blown wide in naked desire, and I know for a fact that I don't want to be the one on the other side of that.
Yeah, how about no? Why are you here?
I almost don't recognize my master's voice. After so much of the night spent in such a playfully light tone, it's odd to hear him so irate.
Yeah, I thought this was supposed to be a party for first years. I know you should have been held back a couple of times, Kalu, but really, don't you think this is a little much?
Shauna drawls, having pushed her way through the crowd that has gathered to watch our little spectacle.
We had invites. Who the hell let this clown in?
Kalu defends himself, pointing at my master, infuriated at being provoked.
Blue, here, now.
There is no room for argument in my master's voice, and it's all I can do to obey. There's anger now and pointed fingers. People are gathering to gawk at the spectacle could have avoided if I had just been good and brought my master his drink. I know I haven't been ordered to stand. I haven't been ordered to do anything but come to my master's side. But I do anyways. I stumble over my own 2 feet as I stand and fall into my master's arms. I bury my head in my master's neck, breathing deeply for a few moments. This scent is safe. I'm safe. It isn't as bad as I think. As if to prove my point, he draws one arm around my waist, pulling me closer, and drawing a reassuring pattern at the base of my neck. I breathe a relieved sigh and settle just a bit closer. If there was any doubt in my mind about my master being angry with me for my actions, this simple reassurance has relieved them. He could have allowed them to use me. He could have thrown me to the floor. His orders weren't to cling to him like a child. He just told me to come to him. It's okay. He's safe. I'm safe.
Aw, I'm gonna puke.
I hear one of the upperclassmen jest, but I don't lift my head to see who it was.
Look, back off, or you won't like what happens next.
When my master speaks, I can hear the authority in his voice. I can feel the resonance of his words in his chest.
What is going on here?
I tense against Master's body. Stars, how unlucky can one person be? It isn't bad enough that I've caused a scene and made my master argue with his upperclassmen, but I've also summoned our hostess with my little scene.
We had a little case of lost and found. Little Kitty over there was wandering around like a stray, and I was just hoping to give him a good new home.
Kalu immediately makes his case, throwing my master and me under the proverbial carriage. Kalu, I'm glad you could come to my little party, but please do try to keep it civil. She addresses him coolly, but with a smile on her face.
All right, Jen. For you.
He acquiesces with little resistance, although his answering bow is more than a little sarcastic. The steps of her high-heeled shoes echo loudly as she makes her way to us. You coddle your familiar too much. She's speaking to my master, but the words pierce me. She's right. I know that, even if my master doesn't. I should have at least gotten a smack for this whole incident, not a cuddling. Aw, you're just mad that our familiars actually like us, Shauna sneers, inserting herself into the conversation. I shift just a bit in my master's arms to see the scene that is playing out in front of us. Shauna seems ready for a confrontation, and by the look on Genevieve's face, it isn't Shauna's first time starting something with her. I try to give Ande a pitying look. He doesn't know what to do, so he's just standing there next to his mistress, trying to understand the situation. He looks ready to jump in between the two, but unable to tell if that will be necessary. Blanc flinches, and I can see by the way Genevieve's face colors that if there were no people here, she would have taken her chances and slapped Shauna for the comment. Blanc is perfectly obedient, she counters, her voice wavering just a bit out of the sheer irritation. I think what we have is a little more than that. Obedience will only get you so far. You have to inspire the dedication our familiars have to us. Shauna smiles, batting her eyes innocently. She seems to be taking full advantage of the fact that Genevieve won't be able to make an aggressive move against her while surrounded by so many others. Stars, why is she goading her? Ha! That's insane. He's a familiar, not a pet. She gestures at Ande, but then, almost as if she's only just remembering that we are still here, she turns to us. Your pampering is only hurting him, she finishes, looking pointedly at my master. It's all I can do to hide back into my master's neck and hope he doesn't shove me off. I bet your fear isn't half as effective as the bond between us and our familiars. Shauna continues provoking Genevieve. Why are we being brought into this? It's the only truly coherent thought running through my head. I don't know why Shauna has such an active conflict with Genevieve, but I do know I don't want to be in the middle of it. Huh! How about we test that? I can hear the smile in Genevieve's voice. I don't like the sound of that.